veteran is raped, do you have a rape kit at your location? Because it's really, I mean, it's hard enough to tell your story to the police. Then you got to come and tell it to the VA emergency staff. Come to find out, they don't have a rape kit. Then they got to transfer you out to a facility that does here in Washington, D.C. At our VA, we don't have a rape kit for women or men, veterans that are raped. And these are some of the things that need to be brought out. If your VA doesn't have it, please post it on our webpage, on our Facebook page, America's Disabled in Action, Veterans in Action Facebook page. Post it, because it was a month ago. We had a veteran that was mistreated at a VA hospital in South Carolina. I mean, the doctor was just or the personnel representing Veterans Affairs was just so rude, nasty, didn't want to help the man no more. Any of this has since went viral. So this is what we need to do. We need to start posting our incident.
We have to expose this.
Record them. I don't care if they tell you can't. You have to. Because it's the evidence that you're going to need that the VA is not going to provide for you.
And it's only this type of evidence through public exposure. Sunshine is the best disinfectant for corruption.
Right.
And so the way that we're doing this is that we're depending on our own veteran community to share the information. See, as long as you think that you're alone, you are alone, but you can always reach out to America's Disabled Veterans in Action for a news and information media source, and we will check it out. We will follow up on it. So, we would be the group of media people that we are today if we had not been here to advocate for our veteran community over the past few years. That being said, we still depend on the grassroots efforts of our veterans to share with us the information that's going on within their community, because our station is made up by the comments of veterans. This is news and information by veterans for veterans through America's Disabled Veterans in Action. Well, it's something that we have to. It's something that we have to depend on each other for, because, see, you might feel that your problem is just something for you. It's just something that affects you. But in actuality, what you're experiencing, maybe another veteran at another time is experiencing the same thing at that location, or perhaps at another location. Let me tell you something, folks. I recently had a situation at the Long Beach VA, and there was an officer there by the name of Castro. Yes, I'm putting his name out there. Officer Castro treats you, even if you're a homeless veteran, as though you're a common criminal. You best not seek help there and be seen in the overflow area for the emergency room. Because if you're sitting there for more than 30 to 45 minutes, which is not unusual for an emergency room situation, if you're sitting there for more than that time, you are subject to arrest. You're subject to abuse of police authority. You have to explain why you're there. They have to search your bag. They have to humiliate you and scream at you to get their authority kicks and thrills at the expense of veterans who they are supposed to be there to serve.
I thought once you come through security, once they search your bags to get you in the hospital, they can just keep harassing you by searching you at will. Once you've got past security at the main desk or the main security?
Well, at Long Beach, we don't have a security desk. But you walk into the hospital, and so the emergency room is overflowing. And it was very crowded. There were people with the sneeze protective mask on for coughing and different things like that. And with that going on, you have a situation where it's crowded, and you have service. I have service dogs, so I need a little bit of extra room. So I was like in a situation where I was suffering from PTSD, and if you're like me, if you have a lot of PTSD, you don't want people up under you, so to speak. So I told the nurse, I said, look, I'm going to wait in the overflow area outside. She said, in the red area. I said, yes. I went there to wait. And as I sat out there to wait, that's when I happened to come upon Officer Castro. Now, from that time going forward, I have worked with a couple of groups, because I'm at the VA, several times a week, to check in and to go to groups and to go to various appointments. The fact is that when you go to these appointments, you meet other veterans and you begin to talk to other veterans, and then suddenly appears a profile of a VA police officer that frequently harasses people. Yes, I'm talking about Officer Castro. There was another officer that we often talk about on our show who retaliatory efforts at Marilyn Weish at the Washington VA when he assaulted her. That was in retaliation for something that he felt offended by a couple of years before.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, years before before I was assaulted by the Washington D.C. VA police officers, 2 white male cops. I was in the ER for depression issues with suicidal thoughts and things of that nature, and so they said they weren't going to admit me, even though I was suicidal. And so I proceeded to leave. An officer, we call him Barney Pfeiffer, nicknamed Barney Pfeiffer at our VA. And he proceeded to tell me I couldn't leave, and he was running behind me. I was running, and I flipped him over in the parking lot in front of the emergency room before I knew it. So when I got in issues in the PTSD clinic a couple of years later, he didn't forget. So I believe my police assault was in retaliation for that incident. But the VA says that there was no wrongdoing of their officers. Even when I'm still harassed to this day by their officers. So, I can understand where Dr. George is coming from, and that's why I think that you all should never go to the VA alone, and you should have a person with a working cell phone. You have to record, even though you can't record in a federal building. It's your word against theirs.
Your life could be very well put in danger. I mean, because this man came up on me. And you're in trouble when they start putting on latex gloves.
Well,
because if they begin to put on the latex glove, what happened, Marilyn?
Ass whooping time.
So,
when they put on gloves,
you know that you're about to have a problem. So the end result of it is that I was arrested and detained. I was being detained for a crime of seeking help at the Long Beach VA hospital. For that, I almost got my ass whipped. But thank God I had enough sense to realize that I was in distress, and with him yelling at me, it brought about only more trauma.
Yep.
So it didn't bode well for him. But, it's these things that make you to the point that you don't really want to seek help. And that is a danger, because that feeds into the 22 veterans per day.
So the thing is now that what's going on, I can tell you at Washington, D.C. VA, on the psych ward, you can be videotaped against your will. They can videotape you, like I was in seclusion. So I got video changing clothes after being discharged. You should have cut the cameras off. But I was being videotaped. When I got up to the desk, there's 5 or 6 men sitting around the monitor. And the camera shining right where I was sitting. And Sergeant Gendry of the VA Police Department for Washington, D.C., she said that they can do that because I was in seclusion and where I was in the hospital. I already know. ICU, and when you're in ICU, you have no dignity, you have no privacy because they be videotaping you. So when the nurse is coming in to bathe you or prepare you for the day, you have, they're recording and all that. They just come in, they just snatch your clothes off you. I'm here to to clean you up for the day or whatever they may want to say. It's not, it's too many HIPAA laws being broken at VA's hospitals. And I think when you have a situation with a staff with a medical license, don't even waste your time going to the patient advocate. You can go to them and say you went to them. But main thing, what you want to do, if you want justice, then you have to write to the medical licensure board in that particular state and write them an official complaint. And then it'll be on their license. It'll follow their licensure career as long as they have a licensure dealing with patient care. And that's what you have to do. You have to go after their money. Because VA, it's not, in a lot of cases, not even going to retaliate against the doctor. Like Dr. Seaton told me, there's nothing they can do for the doctors. They can't write them up, and discipline them. And he's the chief for the emergency room at DCVA. So, it's just hard. It makes it hard. Real hard. And I don't, as a rape victim or victim, whatever, you should not be, everything need to be provided, should be provided. There should be one-stop shopping. But Veterans Affairs have not really got to where it's okay to say women veterans are veterans and we're going to treat all veterans equally. No. Ain't going to do that.
The veterans are not treated equally. We are finding out more and more that more veterans are in need than what is being talked about. If you are finding yourself in that condition, you need to talk and follow ADVIA because we're actively trying and working to advocate for the community of veterans about news and information that affects us.
Yeah, we need your experiences. We need your concern. We need to hear your story. We need to put your story out there. Like I said again last week, I've never seen. It was so disrespectful that we had a 108 World War II female veteran died here in the District of Columbia. None of the public officials could find their way to pay their not even our mayor, to pay their last respects. She didn't even get a police escort for her funeral. It just really shows how the disrespect or how the unconcern for female veterans is just really out there. I just really, and a lot of the veterans that knew her were not at the funeral. We don't, they didn't get the message out to all the veterans. And I just felt that this woman was really at a disadvantage, I guess. The Black History Month, Black World War II veteran, she died.
One of the last surviving people, oldest woman surviving from World War II. That merited something. We saw the centenarian at the White House who was 106. Well, Miss Dixon was a veteran, so we owe her a little bit more. As a matter of fact, we should pause here, as yesterday was her memorial.